Hello, everyone. Oh my gosh, my chat font is so big. Okay, anyways, that's fine. Hello, Marissa. Hello, Blackmore Greymon. Hello, Ben. What's up? Also, hey, Gals Bells. It's so good to see you. Thank you for joining my stream for the first time. Um, when did you get affiliate? Hello. Okay. Technically I didn't. Hopefully I will get it after this stream, but Twitch has like this new thing. You did not did I miss a chapter? You did not miss a chapter, Ben. Twitch has like a new thing where you can monetize even if you aren't affiliate. And it gives you like access to subs and bits and something else, but you can't do payouts. Anyways, all about to say, I put in my information for that. So now I guess I have a subscription option, but I haven't really like set it up. Oh, oh my God. Thank you for 10 bits. Oh my God. Iconic. Iconic. And that right there is an icon. Thank you so much, Ben. You're literally the best. Um I don't have much, but deserved. No, literally, I appreciate it so much. That's so sweet. Thank you. Yeah. So technically not affiliate. I'm just trying out whatever this new thing that Twitch has going on, but I do hope to be affiliated in like the next couple of days cuz I only need one more stream with 3 average viewers. And this could be that stream. I don't know. We'll see. But if it is, then I'll officially be affiliate. Don't forget me when you're the world's most famous Twitch streamer. Wipes tears. No, we're gonna be the world's most famous Twitch streamers together. Like it just there's no other way. There's no other way, you know. Um Also happy early birthday, Ben. I just got the your announcement in your Discord about it being close to your birthday. So, duo, I know that's right. Also, look, this is literally us. That is us. That's so us. Thank you, thank you. It's on Sunday. Oh, okay, sweet. Yay. Everybody throw a happy birthday for Ben in the chat if you want. That's so exciting. I love that. Hold on, I'm turning on my fan because I got cold and now I'm warm. Okay, fan is back on. Um, but yeah, thank you guys for being here. Um, please ignore how it's on the side, how weirdly large the text is on my chat screen on my overlay. I literally spent so long fixing because if you guys don't follow me on TikTok or Instagram, I was gifted a computer, a PC, and I was like putting everything onto my monitor, like all my overlays and stuff, and it took me so long to get the chat box right. And now it's ginormous. So, love that. That's so great. Oh my gosh, hi Modern Padawan. Hey. It's good to see you again. It's good to see all you guys. Let me know how you're doing, what you've been up to. How's Gimli? Gimli's doing well. He actually, like 20 minutes before I started the stream, he climbed the stairs by accident. He's not supposed to do that, but he did it. And he got to the top of the stairs, and I was like, Gimli, what are you doing? He was fine. Like, he's healing really fast. He's off of his pain medication now. Um, so yeah, he's healing really fast, but he is also a cat, and so he's very stubborn, and he does not like the fact that he can't like run around and do things. Um, So yeah, I thought about, since he was already upstairs, just bringing him into my room and letting him lay on my bed and be in the stream. But then I was nervous that he was gonna like try to jump off the bed while I was talking, and so I was like, just go back in your room. Let's see, what messages did I miss? How are we this Friday? I'm doing well this Friday. I must say, I'm happy it's Friday. I've been sick all week, but finally feel human today. Yay! I'm happy you feel better, but also sad that you were sick. I feel like it's that summer cold, you know? It always comes for us. But I'm so happy that you're feeling better. And I hope you continue to feel better. Constant tweaks are part of the process. Yeah, honestly, because I was like, oh, I got the chat box perfect. It's gonna look so good when I go to stream, and it's just huge. Um, so anyways, that's great. Um, what a silly guy. Gimli is the most silly. Like, he is the most silly fella. I swear to God. Y'all ever climb the stair by accident or just Gimli? Honestly, you should have saw his face. Like, he was just climbing the stairs and he got to the top and he's like, how did I get here? But also, I'm gonna do it again. And it's like, no, please just go lay down, you little fella. Truffle, you're such a ball of sunshine. Stop. 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 You're making my day. Please. This is too much. You guys make my day so much. Um, LMAO, something always happens. Yeah. It's and I thought it was just me because I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the most tech savvy person in the world. I'm like a bit of a grandma when it comes to technology. So I thought it was just me, but like I think it's just I don't know. Like I just the formatting process of like creating like the chat box in the overlay and like the alerts and stuff, it's such a learning curve for me, and I don't even know. Cut to the stream exploding during Dracula. No, exactly. Exactly. It, it literally exploded because before I got this PC, I was streaming on my laptop. So if I did like one extra thing, like shared my screen or whatever, it would be like I gotta explode, you know? And so that's what it did. Anytime I tried to share my screen, or if I streamed more than like an hour or something, it would start getting glitchy. It was bad. It was so, so bad. And that's not the first time it happened. The first time I shared my screen, I thought it was going to be fine. And I talked through my entire little like book report thing. And I realized that my stream was just like paused. Like it just wasn't working. So, yeah. Okay, confession. I snuck away from a family barbecue to say hi. So I'm going to have to go, twin. Have a good stream. I'll pop back on if I'm free. All the love. Oh, not you skipping out on your family barbecue just to say hi and giving me a cheer. You're so iconic, Ben. You're literally the greatest. Thank you for coming by, even if it was just for a little while. It means so much to me. Have a great barbecue. Eat lots of food for me because I love a barbecue, even though I'm vegetarian, love a barbecue. So, yeah. Bye. Um, but yeah. So that's what's going on with me. And Gimli. I have halloumi. Oh, I love halloumi. I love halloumi so much. That is one of my favorite cheeses in the entire world. I love halloumi. Bye-bye. um, but yeah. Hopefully by the time I stream next Monday, maybe I'll have Gimli in here with me. But I don't know. Or I might have to wait till next Friday because he gets his sutures out in a week. So maybe then Gimli will make another appearance in my stream. But until then, he needs to rest, even though he does not want to. Um, but yeah, thank you guys for being here. I hope you guys are doing well today. I'm having a little cozy Friday. I'm wearing my Frog and Toad shirt. Big Frog and Toad fan. I love Frog and Toad. Um, I was just talking about on Instagram recently about how much I love. Okay, this is like not really related to Frog and Toad, but it just popped in my mind, so I'm just gonna say it. Um, but I love like children's stories about animals. Like I'm a big Redwall fan, big Tale of Despero fan. I just love them so much. And somehow I will talk about them on stream. Like I feel like I need to dedicate a stream to like Tale of Despero and Redwall because I just love them. Um, but yeah, so I have my tea today because I'm going to be doing a lot of talking. Um, it is in this mug that my parents sent me, and it's so cute because it has mushrooms on it, and I love it. I love it so much. So this is this is what I'll be sipping from. The tea I'm drinking today is usually when I stream, I just drink hot water with honey, but today I'm drinking Earl Grey, but it's the Sadaf blend Earl Grey with honey, and that's it. So, yeah, this is my mug. And I love how large it is. I also love how big the handle is because one of my favorite mugs, I've used it on stream before, and it's my Shakespeare mug. I love that mug so much because I love Shakespeare, but the handle is teeny tiny and it's so hard to hold. Um, and I don't even my hands aren't that big, but I can't hold that mug. Anyways, um, let's talk about what we're going to be talking about today. Okay, that's so hot. Okay. Just burn my mouth a little. We're fine. Today I am going to be talking about the book I just finished, which is FaeBound by Saara El-Arifi. I loved this book. It is a trilogy, I want to say. Just so you know. However, the third book is not out yet, but the second book is, and I just started reading the second book on my e-reader. I just got this e-reader and I'm like really jazzed about it, so I will probably not stop talking about it. It's the Kobo brand, Kobo, and I love it. I love it so much. But I'm not super deep into the sequel yet, the second book yet. Um, Love it so far, but I'm still very much at the beginning. I think according to my e-reader, I am only 16% of the way through. So, yeah. But I finished FaeBound. It took me a while to read this book, I will say. It took me about a month, which is kind of crazy because I loved this book. Like it did not take me a long time because I didn't like it. Um, I think it took me a long time because I did like it in the sense that I didn't want it to end until I started to get to the end and I was just ready to read the second book to see what happens next. Um General overview about this book. I also quick disclaimer. I did not prep for this book review stream. I literally am just like going off the cuff with this because the first book review that I ever did on my Twitch, I was very organized. I created like a presentation and I shared my screen, and then, my computer exploded because it overheated. But I felt like it wasn't very organic and didn't leave a lot of space to like have conversations with you guys about the book while I talk about it. So this one's going to be a lot more freeform. Just a vibes review we love. Yes, yes, it's just a vibes review. Like, I have nothing written down. I have nothing like planned out or set in stone. I kind of was just like, well, let me just talk about it. So yeah, feel free to while I talk your ear off, feel free to um continue to talk in the chat because I love having conversations about book reviews, or you can just sit and listen to me blabber on uh chaotically because it will be chaotic. Um so yeah, anyways, that's my disclaimer. Um so yes, FaeBound. General overview, sort of lore, quick synopsis if you don't already know. So this is a fantasy book. It is a high fantasy book. Um, and it follows, it's set, I don't think there's a name for the world that it is set in. Seeing if it says on the map. It doesn't. But basically there are three races of people. You have the elves, the humans, and the fae. The main race is are the elves. Humans don't exist, like they were wiped out. The elves believe that the Fae were also wiped out, but we quickly learn this is not a spoiler. This is going to be spoiler free. By the way, I should probably put that in the title. I'm actually going to do that right now. Hold on. Spoiler free. Okay, done. Um, yeah, so we quickly find out that the Fae are alive. They just live underground. Like there's an underground city that they were cursed to live in by the last human. And so we follow three main characters, kind of four, but I feel like the fourth one is more of very much more of a supporting character. So you have Yiran, who is a army colonel, general, badass kind of elf woman. And then her sister, ooh, I just hit the mic. Her sister Lettel, who is a seer or a diviner. And then Ryan, who is he's the commander below Yiran in the Waning District Army. And then the fourth kind of supporting character is Comey, who we meet in the Fae prison. And he is an elf who has been imprisoned by the Fae for about 10 years. And so yeah, those are our main cast of characters. Um, Another important part of this book is the animals. So we learn about a specific kind of animal called an obea, Obah, and they're basically like, I think they're meant to be like cats, like a mix of like a cat and like a deer, like a stag. Because they have like big horns, but they also have like whiskers like a cat and claws. And basically how they're magical beings. And the elves hunt Obea for their skin to make their weapons. The weapons that the elves use are drums that shoot magical bullets, I guess you could say. So you would like hit the drum and it'll like go pew 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 at the other military. But the Fae, they bind themselves to the Obea. Um, this is why I like when books have illustration companions or something, so I can really know what it looks like. Right? No, I feel the same way. I had to like kind of look up what an Obea looked like in terms of like what the author was going for. And yeah, it kind of just looked like a really large cat with antlers. Kind of like a panther, but maybe a little bit taller and with antlers. So that's sort of what it was. But I feel like as I was reading, I was kind of just picturing them to look like caribou. because I feel like that's easier for me to visualize because like I know what a caribou looks like. But yeah, that's kind of the vibe. Um, but yeah, the Fae, they bind themselves to the Obeah, which gives them magical powers, and it also gives them access to the Fae language. But because they bind themselves to the Obeah, anytime an elf kills an Obeah in the wild, they also kill a Fae, if that makes sense. It's a lot of lore. But honestly, it's the lore that I like most about this book because you can tell that the author put so much intention and research into how into like the world building aspect, which I love world building. But you also have some Fae that don't uh bind themselves to Obeah, and they're called lightless, and they're treated kind of like second class citizens because they aren't bound to an animal. So yeah. And so basically the big the big conflict is that Yiran, Lettel, and Ryan get taken prisoner by the Fae, and because Yiran accidentally kills an Obeah, which is also the Fae prince, right before she is about to be executed, she ends up binding to an Obeah. And then they're like, oh, well, we can't kill her because now she's one of us, sort of, because she has an Obeah companion. And from there, Obeah, Lettel, and Ryan are kind of they're trapped in the Fae world and want to figure out how to get out. So that's sort of the general gist of the story. It's a lot. It's a lot. But I hope it kind of made sense. Um, at least a little. Hold on, I'm putting my phone on do not disturb. Um, yeah, like I said, it's a lot of lore, it's a lot of world building, but it's also what I like most about this book is how much effort you can see that she put into the story. That made sense, and it sounds interesting. I don't read a ton of high fantasy books. No, that's fair. Um, but it is really, really interesting. I think it's definitely very much like traditional high fantasy, but I will say it is very diverse group of characters, and it's also very queer, which I like. You have a lot of trans characters. Um, the main character Yiran is a lesbian, which we love. Um, so it's really great. I like that it has like traditional fantasy aspects, but it's more sorry, my my other cats have zoomies and I just like got distracted. Um lesbians. Yes, exactly. Exactly. And it's like literally the first chapter, it just starts off with like Yiran and her girlfriend just like being cute AF. It's awesome. So, yeah. Read it for the lesbians alone if you want. um I forgot what I was about to say. So, more about what I liked from this book. Actually, I feel like I should also talk about what I didn't like about this book too, but I don't know. Like I don't know. I'm heading to brunch with my wife. Have a great rest of stream. Oh my gosh, yes. Wait, this is so cute. Oh my gosh, I love brunch. Have a great brunch with your wife. I hope you have a great Friday. Um, and thank you so much for stopping by. Bye. Enjoy your brunch. Ugh, now I want brunch. I feel like I should have put more honey in this. It's like a little bitter, but that's okay. Um, but yeah, as I was saying, thinking about what I didn't like about this book, I don't really know. I really don't know. And I think part of that is because the books I read right before this were so lackluster that when I started reading this, it was so good that I was like, no notes. No notes. Um, when I went to go read other reviews online, it seemed like people had issues with the world building and with the characters and the romance. But I think all of those critiques aren't very fair, at least how those people are viewing the critiques. Some people are saying that the world building was lacking, which I don't think it is because I feel like I had a very good grasp of what was happening in the story. And then also, um in terms of the characters, I feel like the characters are very complex. So like some of them, like okay, Lettle for example isn't the most likable character. Like she's very irritable. um she doesn't have much of a filter, or like she doesn't know when to just like, keep a mouth shut. But I think that that adds to her appeal in the story, because if everybody's just perfect, how do you relate to that as a reader? Because as humans, we aren't perfect. So I think having a character that's a little flawed, a little unlikable, is fair and deserves to be written. Um, and then what was the other? Oh, the romance. So, like I said, this book is very queer, and there is romance. There is a very big romance subplot. Um, there's romance subplot between Yiran and her girlfriend, who then becomes her ex-girlfriend, and then she gets a new girlfriend. And then there's also romance between Lettle and Ryan. However, like I said, it's all subplot, which I personally like. I prefer every once in a while I'll love a book where the romance is the main plot, but I really do love when I read a good book where the romance is the subplot, because it gives you a little bit of yearning, but it's also not like beating you over the head with just, constant constant romance. Do you know what I mean? But I do understand that if you're a big fan of romance, or if you're a big fan of like smutty books, that you might not like this because it's a lot more subtle with with that with that aspect. But that's okay. To each their own. Um but yeah, those are just some of the critiques I feel like this book got. But like I said, I don't think those critiques are very fair. But hey, that's just me. That's just me, who really loves this book. So, what to talk about next? I think I'm just gonna talk about the things that I really loved about this book. I loved a lot of things about this book, and I don't. I feel like if I talk about all of them, I would be sitting here forever. So I feel like I should just talk about some of them. Um, which like I said, I didn't write anything down. So I'm taking this. I mean, I annotated in the book, but I didn't take any like notes elsewhere, so I am kind of, going off the cuff with this. But oh my god. I swallowed the wrong way. Um, so one thing I actually really liked about this book, that I don't know if it was intentional or not is the elements of like traditional Fae folklore and how that matches up with how the Fae exist in this book. So I'm a big fan, I'm sure as you can tell from my username, I'm a big fan of fairies. Fairies of all kinds. Like I love like, Tinkerbell and like Pixie Hollow and all that. And I also love learning about fairies and fae folk in folklore, especially like Northern European folklore specifically. But I do feel like there are fairy-like creatures in folklore all around the world. Um, but I know that a lot of the time in Northern European folklore, the land of the Fae is kind of it's hidden from us, And I think that's what makes it easy to believe that they don't exist is because they exist beyond some kind of portal that isn't easily accessible to the naked eye. Uh However, you'll read these texts that's like, oh, if you go underneath this waterfall or through a like a arch between two tree branches, then you'll enter this portal into the Fae. And I feel like that is very much reflected in this book in terms of the Fae living in a underground city. The city's called Mosima, by the way. Mosima. I feel like there are a lot of parallels there, and I really like it because, we think about like our main characters, our main group, they're being held prisoner in the land of the Fae, which once again is a common theme in a lot of folklore and all of that, getting taken to the land of the Fae, being held prisoner. But something that we learn from the Fae characters themselves is that they're also prisoners of their own world. They can't leave the boundary. Only the royal family they know the secret to opening the boundary. However, if they leave, then the nature, like the plants, the animals, the bugs, all of that will die because the royal family is connected to the land. So they're trapped there. And so, the characters are like, yeah, we're also our own prisoners. And I find that so interesting. And it just makes me think like, if these folk tales are true about fairies existing in um these other realms, do they also feel like they're prisoner to those realms? I don't know. I've never been. Though I gotta say, listen, hear me out. If I ever stepped into a fairy ring or something of that nature and got swept away to um to the realm of the Fae, I don't know if I would be that mad. I think I would quite like it. I don't know. Like I think it would be nice, but like maybe it's scary. I don't know. Who's to say? Um, but yeah. Oh, hold on. Give me a second. Do okay. Um, so yeah, that's something that I found really interesting and that I was thinking about a lot while reading the story is the parallels between traditional folklore and this more modern age version of high fantasy. And I do wonder if that's something that the author did intentionally or if it was just, that's just how the cookie crumbled in terms of building the Fae world. This is reminding me to go read the books I got from the library. I am so glad that I could be that reminder for you. And yes, you should go read the books that you got from the library. Also, thank you for being here. Um, what books did you get from the library? Let me know. I'm curious. I'm curious what books you got. Um, and that goes for everyone watching. If you want, obviously, lurkers, you do not have to interact, but if you want to let me know what books you're currently reading, feel free to let me know, because I always want to hear what y'all are reading so that I can read them, because y'all have good taste. Y'all have really good taste. Um, Hold on. I keep having to like fix this. Okay. Um, Happy to be here also. Yes. Yeah, I'm just hanging out talking about the book that I recently finished. Because I have to talk about it. It was so good. 5 stars all around. Um, I really just I cannot shut up about it. It was amazing. I actually found out about this book from what is her YouTube? Willow Talks Books on YouTube. I don't know if you guys know her, but she does really, really great book reviews and just like book talks. Um, and yeah, I love watching her YouTube videos. Hi, sorry I'm late. I'm in a meeting though, so def lurking today. Oh my god. Hey, friend. I'm so happy that you came, even though you're in a meeting. And yes, feel free to lurk. I'm just happy you're here. I love seeing your name pop up anytime I'm streaming. Um, and by the way, I am still going to create a Discord. Uh, I just haven't done it yet. I had to create a new Discord account, which I did, but I still have to create the server itself. So yeah, that it's gonna happen. Um, but yeah, it's good to see you. I got some Brandon Sanderson books, Stormlight Archives, and I picked up the Inheritance trilogy by N.K. Jemish from the bookstore. Okay, I haven't heard of either of those, and I'm curious. Stormlight Archives. I feel like I've heard the name Brandon Sanderson though. I feel like I have. But I don't think I've heard of the Stormlight Archives or the Inheritance trilogy. But I'm curious. I'm curious. That sounds good. I'm gonna look into those. Gotta write them down. Hold on. Okay. Brandon Sanderson is a great author. I also have the Mistborn series by him. Highly recommend. Okay, wait, this is so good to know. And see, this is why I always ask y'all what you're reading, because how else would I have known, you know? Hold on. There we go. Got him. Oh, I've definitely seen these book covers before. Like now, like when I get a visual, it's starting to look familiar. I'm totally checking this out. Um, so thank you for letting me know. Um, I love that. I love that so much. Um, Yay! Yes. Yes, I will totally be checking them out. I always need new books to add to my list, even though my TBR is increasingly, it's always increasing, but that's okay. I think that that's a joy because it means I always have good books to choose from when I finish a book. Um, so yes, thank you for that. Um, Going back to FaeBound. Okay, I feel like so I've talked at length about the fairy portal. Now I want to see what else I kind of want to talk about. I literally annotated everywhere in this book. I don't know if you guys annotate your books at all. I'm a huge fan of annotating. And it's not very like, I feel like when I say I annotate my books, it sounds very like scholarly and like, ooh, annotations. But I literally just highlight things and say LOL. Or I say, oh, that's cool. Or like it's silly. But I love it. I love scribbling in my books. So let's see. I feel like there was one section that I really wanted to talk about. I don't really know how annotating works, but I love to one day. You should try it. It's literally it can be whatever you want it to be. Like some people do annotate more thoughtfully in the sense that they'll have different colored highlighters or, little like post-it notes, like little sticky tabs. For me, I just highlight parts that either sound nice, like the I like the way the author wrote that certain sentence, like I just think it's a beautiful sentence. Or I'll just highlight parts that sound funny, um certain like lore I'll highlight. Like I did it here and then I wrote lore because sometimes, especially when I'm reading like high fantasy, I tend to forget the lore as I get further on in the book, and I'll have to like flip back to reread something. And so I just find it easier to like mark different lore things. Um oh, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's really fun. And I feel like I said, annotating can really be as like serious or as silly as you want. Like I had a really silly one. Like, what's happening here? Oh, so like Yiran is like talking about Furry, her like new lover at one part, and I just wrote gay with two hearts. Like it's so unserious. But it's fun. I like it. Um, which actually kind of brings me to the next thing I wanted to talk about that I really liked about this book. XD, I love that. Yeah, right. Like, I feel like whenever I'm like reading in public and I have like my highlighter and my pen, I look so serious and so studious. Meanwhile, I'm literally just writing gay in my book. Like it's not that deep. Um, mm, hey, I'm curious if you have any tips for people who have a hard time processing what they read. I want to read more, and this book sounds cute, but unfortunately, reading always feels like a chore. Okay, this is a great question. Hold on. I'm actually really excited to give you advice. Also, thank you for being here and interacting. Hey. So any tips for people who have a hard time processing what they read? I think that, well, first of all, I do want to say that like everybody's brain is different. And so I think what works for me might not work for you or for somebody else. So I do think part of it is kind of like trial and error. So, take these tips, maybe they work, maybe they won't. I don't know. Um One thing is I think so kind of like what I was saying with annotating, that personally helps me to process what I've read. It can make reading feel a little bit more like a chore though. It's pros and cons because when I annotate, I it's a very active form of reading. I'm not just sitting and reading. I'm reading and I'm also like stopping to highlight, stopping to write little notes for myself. However, when I do that, it helps me remember what I've read better versus when I just read without annotating, I tend to forget things. Um and yeah, it makes it harder for me to like put the story together. So I do think that annotating, highlighting, or just writing little notes, maybe even like putting little post-it notes in and writing little summaries at the end of each chapter, that could help. But once again, that also might make it feel more like a chore because it's a lot more active. Another thing could be the way that you consume books. I don't know if you prefer physical books or audiobooks, but I find that sometimes, like, for some books, it's easier for me to read them in audiobook form. Like Lord of the Rings, for example, I will only read that in audiobook form. Because otherwise I find it too dense. So it's easier for me to like retain the story and be present in the story by listening to it versus reading it. Um, so that's one thing, you know, try audiobooks. And there's so many good audiobook services out there. I always plug Libro FM. I'm putting it in the chat. Whoop. Hold on. Oh my goodness. Not letting there we go. Libro. Why is my caps lock on? There we go. Libro FM is really great for audiobooks. They also support your local bookstore. So you could try that. Um I totally understand that. I hear Lord of the Rings is very descriptive. Also, thank you. Yeah, no problem. I really hope it helps. Like I really hope that some of my advice helps. Um I could talk about reading for days, obviously. So, thank you for your question. And yes, Lord of the Rings is very descriptive. Like I love Tolkien so much, but he just like he'll just go on a tangent about like random lore for pages and pages, and it's like, what happened to the adventure? So yeah, that's why I prefer to listen on audiobook. Um so yeah, but yeah, just exploring what works for your brain and how you absorb things better, because at the end of the day, reading is for you, you know, and it doesn't matter how other people read or how other people what other people do with their books. That doesn't matter. At the end of the day, all that matters is how you read, what makes reading fun for you. Um, and yeah. Oh, that made me so happy. What a great question. Um, what was I talking about? Oh, well, I was talking about annotating, but as I was flipping through my annotations, I realized that something else I really, really liked about this book, you guys, is the description of like their clothing. I can tell that this author takes clothing very seriously, because she was describing their clothing so much to the point where I really really want to do a Fae Fae from FaeBound like cosplay situation. Um I don't know, it just it sounds so good. There's so many like um parties and events that the Fae go to, and every time they do, there's a very like descriptive moment where the author just goes in talking about the clothes that they're wearing. Um because also apparently the different stitches in the clothing means like different things, and I just love that. Also, apparently, like their makeup is meant to be very ostentatious. They use a lot of like gold. They have like a lot of gold on their hands, and it just sounds so beautiful that I want to cosplay it so bad. Um, so that's like another little thing that I really loved about this book. And if you're somebody else that loves like costume design or just like getting dressed up, um, that's another reason why I would recommend this book to you, because you get to like get all giddy at the descriptions of the costumes. Um, hmm. Okay, let me go back through my annotations, see what else I want to talk about. Um, I feel like, ooh, I just pressed something. Okay, I think we're good. Um, I feel like even though I did not plan out this book review before I started streaming, I do kind of like this being more freeform. I like that I can just talk, you know, and have more conversation with you guys versus having a more like structured uh review situation. Let's see. Oh, okay. Well, that's kind of a spoiler, so I'm not gonna say that part. Cause I don't want to spoil anything, and that this is a spoiler free review. Ooh, okay. There's one part where they go to a library, and I might just read the description for you guys, but because I just flipped to the page. There's one part where they go to a library and it's called a book orchard, and I'm obsessed with it, and I think you guys will really, really like it. So I'm going to read you guys a section of the part of the story when they go to the book orchard. I like the unstructured talks, feels like a FaceTime. Right? That's kind of what I was thinking. Like I feel like it just feels so much more natural that way. Um versus, feeling like I'm giving like a lecture. Like instead I'm just like hanging out and like talking to you guys. Um Also, I just realized why. Hold on, let me make sure my chat box is still working. I just realized your chat didn't pop up on my overlay, but I think it should be fine. It'll be fine, I'm sure. Um, my chat box needs work anyways, so the text is so big. The font is huge. Um, Anyways, yeah, so they go to this book orchard, and I am obsessed with the descriptive language for it. So I'm gonna read it to you. Let's see, where should I start? Okay, the book orchard was created when my ancestors dug a tunnel in an attempt at escape from Mosima. Lettel brought her gaze downwards. Stacks and stacks of books rippled outwards in a spiral. The shelves themselves let out a faint spark of magic, and as she took a step forward, she realized they were made out of the twisted branches of a tree. For hundreds of years, the trees have been grown here, nourished by the rich soil and our magic. Then my great grandfather began to train them to twist and flatten their branches into shelves, and here we are. I just love that description. Like the mental imagery of like this dim book orchard that has these trees growing, and the trees are also like the bookshelves. I just love that. And we spend a little bit of time in this, book orchard, but honestly not enough. Like I want to know more about all the books that are in there. Um but I will say that something that I thought was really creative that the author did was using something like a library or a book orchard in this case to help with the world building, because I think sometimes with world building it's like a delicate balance between being clunky and dense and, you know, being lackluster and not giving the reader enough information about where they are and what the rules are and everything. But I think introducing a library and having the characters go through it and go through their books is a really great way to help build that world building essentially, and give them a bit more context to the world that they are in. And I think same goes for the general concept that this book revolves around, having a group of characters from another place be prisoner in a new world. They need world building just as much as we do. You know, they don't know where they are, they don't know what the customs are, or the history or anything like that. So having them be prisoners and then have to learn about the world around them is also a really great way to naturally build in world building, because we're learning with the characters, you know? It's not like we're just having like world building just thrown at us to the point where it's like overwhelming. It's like, okay, we're taking baby steps, we're learning with the characters, we're flowing with the story, and I really appreciate that. And I think that that is a really smart tactic, um and makes the lore a lot more digestible. um yeah. So, big fan of the magical library, big fan of the world building technique. So now, oh wow. There's like a lot of highlights. There's a lot of annotations on this page, and I wasn't ready for that. Uh, but I think I just highlighted so much because I was a little confused, but then I got it. I got it. Oh, did I miss something? No, okay. Um, Now I think I just lost my train of thought. What was I gonna say? Talk about world building. I think I was gonna say something about the divination, the use of divination, um, in this story. But of course, oh, okay. So, another critique that some people had about this book is how the what would you call them? Like the prophecies are used. So in the beginning of the book, you have Lettel, who I said is the younger sister, and she is a diviner. You know, she uses animal organs to read the fates of the future. And basically every time she does a reading or what have you, it gives her a kind of cryptic description of what's going to happen in the future. So I can read you one for example. I have to go to the beginning. Um, and like I said, these aren't like they aren't spoilers, but they are. But you know, we read these at the very beginning of the story, like just a couple chapters in. And of course, I cannot find one. Let's see. Well, even if I can't find one, that's fine. I feel like it's still I think you guys still will kind of get what I mean. Okay. So here's an example of one of the prophecies that Lettel gets, and this is in chapter 7, only 54 pages in. It says, under a waxing moon that no one can see, when the sun flares and twilight reigns, a burdened partnership will die when poison passes their lips, one gilded, one pearl. And you read that 54 pages in and you don't know what it means, and neither does the main character. And some people kind of had a problem with that when I was reading the book reviews for this, because I think that they were like, it's a spoiler, it makes it obvious. I love a good foreshadowing moment, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, it's really good foreshadowing. It adds a little bit of like much like the character, she gets this reading and she's like, well, what does that mean? And she's thinking about it all the way up until it comes to pass. And I feel like for the reader, you're kind of doing the same thing where you're well, what does that mean? And then it becomes a little, like a little puzzle because, you're trying to put together the pieces of this cryptic prophecy and figuring out how it ties into the story. And I really, really like that. I feel like it helped to kind of move the plot forward, and it also gave some conflict because, little pieces of the prophecy will be revealed, and as they revealed, it can completely change how the characters react and relate, and are in partnership with each other. You know what I mean? So I love that. I loved the little treats of foreshadowing that we were given throughout the story. I also liked how the divination was portrayed. I thought it was very unique. Um, Basically, kind of like I said earlier, Lettel reads the fates by she has to cut open an obea, which is the magical animal of this universe. She has to cut one open and then spread its organs out, and like these little threads of magic, like little pearls of magic, will circulate around the organs, and then from there she's able to get a prophecy. And I think that that's really interesting. And I feel like that also kind of has roots in other like forms of divination that exist around the world, and like the real human world. Like I know that like reading bones is a thing. Um so I think it's really interesting having that kind of real world thing but translated into this fantasy world. However, once Lettel becomes prisoner in the fairy world, she can't kill animals anymore. So she learns from another seer that she has to whittle these magical talismans in the shape of organs, and then she can cast those and read the fates from the talismans. And once again, I just think that's really smart. And yeah, I love a bit of divination in a book. I just think it's so fun. Oh, my tea's gone a little cold. It was too hot. Now it's gone a little cold, but that's okay. I don't mind a cold, hot drink. Anyways, okay, let's move on to more things that I loved about this book or that I found interesting about this book that does not include spoilers. Um, okay, actually, I'm gonna talk about. I can't believe I haven't talked about this yet. Also, what time is it? Okay, it's 12:04. My goal for this stream was to go until like 12:30. I don't know if I'm gonna go all the way till 12:30. Um, but that's fine. Anytime that I get to just hang out and talk to you guys is good enough for me. But anyways, so I haven't talked about this yet, but the romance. Let's talk about the romance. I talked about it a little bit in terms of there being like a romance subplot. Some people didn't like it because it was too subplot for them. I personally loved it. I thought it fit in well with the story, giving us a little bit of yearning without giving us too much. But what I really liked about it was how it was written, especially um the romance between Yiran and Yiran and both her new girlfriend and her ex-girlfriend. I think the lesbians are written great. In the sense that I can tell that the author put so much thought and tenderness into writing those moments that it feels so intimate and it feels so loving. And I think that that's something that is lost in a lot of books that are, popularized right now. I think there are a lot of romance books that are doing really well, but where's the tenderness? Where's the yearning? You know what I mean? But I will say, going back to what I was talking about the YouTuber Willow Talks Books earlier, and they have like a whole YouTube video, I think, about how queer fantasy and romance is so much better than heterosexual like romantasy, and I agree. I agree. I tuned in a bit later. What's the name of the book? Oh, it's FaeBound by Saara El-Arifi. I'll also put it in the chat so everyone can see. Oh my gosh, one of my cats just scared me. Okay, Spaghettio just jumped up in my lap. Say hi, Sketty. She's a little camera shy. But this is Spaghettio. If you haven't seen her before, she doesn't join the stream super often. And cat, yes. Yeah, she doesn't join super often. And when she does, she usually sits in my lap, so you can't really see her. Like right now, she's in a little ball on my lap, but she is here. She is with us. If I wasn't worried about the time it would take to readjust my webcam, I would show you her in my lap. But yes, we have a kitty on the stream. What was I talking about? Oh, yes, the romance. So you can just tell how intimate. I want to see if I could just find you like an example of of it. Oh, I had that one part that I was talking about earlier. I have to find it again though. Let me move my mouse. Spaghettio. I don't know. She she keeps rubbing against my book. And I'm trying to look for a page. Okay, of course I can't find the part I was literally just talking about. But in general, as I was saying, I feel like the romance in this book is definitely written with so much thought and care and attention. It's not just like they thought the other one was pretty and so they made out. Like, you can tell that these characters love each other. It's sweet. Okay, Spaghetti. She's rubbing against the mic. Um, it's very sweet, it's very tender, it's very intimate, and I love it. There is, I did not know this. I did not know this. But there is a little bit of smut in the book. Not a lot, which I loved, because it's nothing wrong with a little spice, but sometimes you don't want a book that's, all spice, no plot, personally. But there is a little bit of spice in this, but once again, it is written with so much care. Like, it is so beautiful and it is so like it's just so sweet. Um that I don't know. It was just like a breath of fresh air. Because I recently read a book that was like all porn, no plot, and it was just really disappointing. So I really loved reading this and reading how tender those moments were, even though it was just for like a short second. So I love the romance in this. And there is romance between, like I said earlier, Lettel, the younger sister, and Ryan. Um, I like their romance too. It's also very sweet. Ryan is very, very wholesome, which we don't get a lot of wholesome men in books. um I should say male love interests in books. I don't know why it's like a trend right now to write problematic male love interests and just say that they're morally gray. Girl, that man is an abuser. I'm sorry. Um like some of these books out here, y'all, I don't get it. But Ryan is very wholesome. He's a great love interest. And he's very much like the complete opposite of Lettle, which I think complements them really well. So if you love romance, if you love romance as a subplot, I think you'll love this book. If you love romance when it is the main plot, then you might not love it so much. And I also think if you're queer, you will love this book because I think, like I said, how the queerness is written, how the queer love is written, um, is very genuine. Also, I think how the familial love is written is really beautiful because Yiran and Lettle, ooh, Spaghettio, why did you kick the table? Yiran and Lettle are sisters, and they don't see eye to eye on a lot of things. You know, Lettle is very anti-military. Yiran is literally the head of the military. So there's a lot of conflict between them. Uh, However, you can tell that they still love each other at the end of the day. And there are just a lot of very wholesome moments of like sibling love and familial love um, in this book. And ugh, guys, I just can't say enough good things about this story. Um, it's so beautifully written and it's so well researched, and I've said it time and time again, but I feel like we don't get a lot of well researched, well written high fantasy that has queer characters, majority black characters. um you know, like I feel like, you know, so many books that are popular nowadays are just like junk food, for lack of a better term, because it's like not all these books are like, you know, bad. Sometimes you love a little junk food, but sometimes you just want to read a book that is so, you want to read good high fantasy that you can also see yourself in. And I think that's ultimately what it comes down for me, and why I like this book is because it's high fantasy that I can sink my teeth into and that I can see myself being in. I could see myself in the characters. The characters look like me. The characters have similar expressions and sexuality to me, and it's just really, really great. I was gonna say something else. The use of uh weaponry in this book is really cool. I know I didn't really talk too much about it. I kind of touched on it and then went on a tangent about something else. But I talked about earlier the use of drums in this book. So the elves, oh my god, Spaghettio is making me sweat. She's so warm. Why are you so warm? Oh, she's purring. I say meow? Oh, he's such a good kitty. She's so warm though. I'm sweating. Um, but the main weapon used by the elves in this book, uh, oh, kitty, yes, she's the sweetest little cat. She just wants so much attention. So she's just sitting on my lap right now. But yeah, you can't really see her. She's also really short. I mean, like, I'm picking you up again, Spaghetti. Look at her. She's teensy tiny. Oh, such a good girl. Anyways, the main weapon used by the elves in this book, in this world, are drums. Even Yiran, her little, oh my god, Spaghettio! Spaghettio almost fell on the floor. Spaghettio, I'm trying to stream. So Yiran's like symbol for each chapter is a drum because she is like the colonel in the military. And I really thought that this was interesting um because the author being of African descent, I thought it was really cool that she used something like an African drum to be like such a powerful tool in this world. And especially at the beginning of the book, when not Lettle, Yiran gets exiled, and that's how she ends up in the Fae world. She talks about how she misses hearing and feeling the rhythm uh of where she comes from. You know, she doesn't have that constant rhythm, that constant percussion that she's used to. And I just think that's really interesting. And I think that's really cool. And I really vibe with that. Um and you know, as Yiran starts to become comfortable with learning Fey magic, she uses a drum to help her harness it. And I just think that's so cool. And I think it's something that like it's so creative because of course, you know, in a fantasy story, we're used to um we're used to seeing swords, we're used to seeing bow and arrows, stuff like that. But like a drum, that is so unique. That really does sound cool. Maybe I should add this to my TBR. Yes, you should. You really should. It is an amazing read. Um, and I kind of want to read. I had the part highlighted about her uh she was talking about talking about talking about the rhythm of the drum. But of course, I'm not going to be able to find it because, you know, can never find it when I need it. Oh, Spaghetti, oh no! Oh my God, she's going to step on the keyboard. Okay. Um. Okay, so this is the one part I was talking about. Something felt wrong, different. There was no sound of drum fire. For the first time in her life, Yiran couldn't hear the echoes of the forever war. The constant rhythm that had given her purpose had been stripped away. Yiran looked to the sky, east. I just loved that. Like I loved when it says the constant rhythm that had given her purpose had been stripped away. Like it's so interesting. And then this isn't a spoiler, but she does eventually come back to using the drum. Like I said earlier, once she learns how to use Fey magic. I just love that. I love that so much. And I love Saara El-Arifi for doing that for me. And I really hope that I can meet her one day because I have so many good things to say to her about this book. She also has other book series that I have not read. This is my first book of hers that I've ever read. Um like I said, I am currently reading Cursebound, which is the second book in the FaeBound series, and so far it's really good. Um it the tone is a little bit different just in the sense that, you know, we aren't exactly setting the scene anymore because now we know more about the world and everything, but we are meeting new characters. There's still a lot of interesting conflict and mystery and yeah, things to be discovered. So I really love it. And please stay tuned for the day that I do a Fae cosplay because I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Um, so yeah, I think I'm gonna start wrapping up my book review now because I feel like I have yabbered on about my love for this book for enough time. We're at 12:20, which is, you know, like I said, I kind of wanted to stream until around 12:30. Um, so yeah, uh, I really hope if you guys haven't heard about this book, or didn't know about this book, I hope that you are interested in reading it now. It is so worth the read. It is so worth it's worth the praise. Like I said, some people weren't a fan of it, but if you like good world building, good researched high fantasy, um, books with diverse characters, uh, romance subplot, queer romance, then I think you'll really like this book. Also beautiful descriptive language. I could get a mental picture of everything that she was trying to describe. The animals, the Obeah, was kind of hard for me to visualize, but it wasn't like that big of a deal. You know, I like I said earlier, I just kind of pictured them as caribou, and that was good enough for me. So, yes. Um, that's about it for me today, you guys. I think I'm gonna start wrapping up. My maladaptive daydreaming is gonna eat good, right? Right. Um, no, I feel that as a maladaptive daydreamer myself, and I think that's why I like books like this that are just so like descriptive and extra with their language. Is I just I love just being able to like drift off into my own little world and be there with the characters. Um yeah. So I hope you're able to check it out. It's it's worth it. And I feel like it's also a pretty quick read too. Like it's about, not including the little like uh extra in the back, it's 372 pages. So it's really not that long as far as fantasy goes, because I feel like some fantasy books are super long. According to my e-reader, the second book is about 500 pages. So the second book is a little longer, but this was a pretty quick read. I will let you know when I pick it up. Oh yeah, that's light work. Love that. Right? Right? Like it's pretty quick for how much there is to like to sink your teeth into. Um, but yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm gonna start to wrap up right now, but I will be streaming again on Tuesday. I don't know what day that, like, what date that is. Tuesday the 12th. Yes, Tuesday the 12th, I will be back streaming. Um, no idea what I'm gonna do for that stream yet. I never know what I'm gonna do. I'm thinking since August I'm streaming on Tuesdays and Fridays, I might do like more chatty Fridays and then like a more calm Tuesday. I don't know. Loved hanging out. Yes, I'm so happy that you're here, Tweet Hobbies. It really makes my day. Um, to see you guys and to talk to you guys and hang out with you guys. Um, so yeah, I love it. Thank you guys for listening to me yabber away about FaeBound. Definitely one of my new all-time favorites. I'll be there. See you then. Yes. I'm so happy. Um, yeah. Have a great rest of your Friday. Make sure you stay hydrated and nourish yourself. Take your medicine, take your vitamins, rest, whatever you gotta do. I love you all so much, and I can't wait to see you guys next Monday. Or not Monday, Tuesday. Bye.